All right, Math Foundation 1 students, this is what you're going to do for the first 4 weeks of this course. Once you are on MyMathTest, let's talk about what you're going to do. You can come over here to take a test, and you're going to start with test 1, test part 1, part 2, part 3, but you're going to begin test part 1. So when I click on this, it is going to ask me for a password. Your instructors have the passwords for the tests. So I'm going to back out of that for a moment. So here's what you need to understand about these tests. The very first time that you take them, they are not designed for you to pass them. If you do, great. So let's run through a scenario here. Let's say that you take part 1 and you get an 85. Great. Move on to part 2. Okay. Take it the first time. All right. If you get above a certain score and your instructor will tell you what score you need to be getting, then you can just move on. But let's say that I take Math Foundations Part 1 and I get a 20. I should not freak out because I got a 20 on that test, because I'm doing what I need to be doing. This test right here is designed to tell you, or to tell the program, what you need to know. Okay? So if you get a 20% here, don't worry about it. Okay? Because what you're going to do next is you are going to go into the study plan. So the reason why it's not a bad thing for you to get a 20 is because you're telling the program how to populate your study plan. Now, I went through and have just submitted this test, and so it's going to show me, it's going to show I'm going to have pins everywhere. Okay. You most likely will not have pins everywhere the first time you take a test. So let's just click into chapter 1, and I'm going to click this plus right here. And so let's go to multiplying whole numbers. I need to go through these and practice these problems. Okay. So if I go through here, I'm going to click on that one, and it's going to come up with a problem for me to do. It says objective, do chain multiplication. Sorry, my internet's running a little bit slow here. All right, so it says find the product of 6 times 2 times 7. All right, so I will figure out what that product is, and then what I'm going to do is put in my answer. I got it correct. Great. All right, and it's going to go on to the next question. So multiply 107 times 4. I'm going to get this one wrong. Okay. So double check your multiplication. Pay close attention to zeros. All right. Don't worry about all that stuff. If I need help on this one, there is question help here, which is help me solve this, view an example, and ask my instructor. So you can use all of those accordingly. All right. But the point is, once we get done with our study plan, once I have gone through here and addressed all of these issues that are in pins, then I'm going to go back. And remember, I got a 20 the first time. Okay. So the first time I took this test, I got a 20. So if I go through the study plan and this next time I take the test, I get an 83, great. I learned what I was supposed to learn, which means that now I'm going to go take this test. And guess what? When you take that test the first time, you're probably not going to do very well. That's again, that is okay. You are going to then come back over here to your study plan and work on it. Okay. So if we get a 15 the first time, and then we get a 75 the second time, great. Guess what? It is now time to move on to this test. And you won't pass it the first time. You'll then go back in and do your study plan a third time. Okay. So that's kind of the iteration of this. All right. That's the way this is going to go. Test and then study plan, test and then study plan, test and then study plan. All right. So hopefully this is a pretty clear explanation as to what you're supposed to be doing after you have logged into MyMathTest. Now, I want to say this. When you click into this test, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and actually start this test, and that you can see that there are 25 questions on it. Now, at the end of the first 4 weeks of this class, you're going to be given the placement test again, all right? And sometimes on the AccuPlacer test, they will have an icon for you, which is a calculator icon. But a lot of times it won't have one. So I know, and your instructor is very, very aware that you can come in here and you can cheat this problem by putting this in your calculator. All right. But what you should do is practice this as if you do not get to use a calculator. All right. Because at the end of the first 4 weeks, you're going to be given the placement test again. And if you get over 250 points on the arithmetic AccuPlacer, then you're going to get to move on to Math Foundations 2. That's going to save you 3 credit hours worth of tuition. All right. And if you don't know the calculation on that, that's quite a pretty good chunk of change there. All right. It's going to also save you a semester's worth of time. So when you go through this, do these problems accordingly. Do them to the best of your ability. All right. Don't cheat the system. You can cheat this all you want and go through and get great grades for this. Okay. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to do all this work and then, oh, I see I got a 0 because I didn't answer any of them correctly. But you don't really want to cheat the system, okay? So keep in mind, do this on your own. You can take these tests at home. You can take them while you're in class. You can work on your study plan in class. But here's the thing. While you are taking your test, your instructor will not answer questions. But after you take your test, if you say, hey, and whoever your instructor is, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, I need help on number 11, then you can click into number 11 and you can see what number 11 was, and you can have them help you figure this out, okay? Another way to address this is to go back over to your study plan, okay? So that's the way this is going to work. Hopefully you guys understand this process and your instructor understands this process so that we can get you guys going and move those who are ready to move on to Math Foundations 2 out. Realize that in this class, Math Foundations 1, it really isn't a whole lot of teaching you things that you've never known. It's teaching you things that you knew in a past time, okay? And I mean, listen, we forget things. It's okay. But, a lot of this class is a reminder. So if we can get you that reminder in this first 4 weeks and move you on into a further level math class, then that's going to be good for you. All right. Thank you guys and have a good day.